Welcome to ComSpark. Today we're in Dayton, Ohio, and right now we're talking to Drew Miller, who's with the City of Kettering. Hi, Drew. I have some questions for you today. The first one I wanted to ask is, what interesting challenges do you deal with in your specific vertical, in your specific, local government, that require you to be innovative about technology that someone not in local government wouldn't have to deal with?
So, with local government, we support literally everything from police and fire, parks and rec, public works, as well as the typical office environment that a lot of people would be familiar with dealing with. We have a dispatch center that we have to maintain. We have a music venue that we support, an ice arena,
Wow,
multiple fitness centers. So we have such a variety of physical environments and different departmental needs that as much as we would like to standardize, I think, and have consistent approaches and one-size-fits-all solutions, we just can't do that. It doesn't work.
Right.
We have some departments that are 24/7, 365, others that have typical banker's hours, and we have to come up with solutions that meet everybody's needs, regardless of how efficient the IT staff can be deploying those sort of things. So I think that's really where we're forced to be innovative, is that we may have to take a solution that works for police and adapt it to fit our parks programs. Sometimes that can be a bit challenging. We have to learn on the fly in a lot of cases, but it also forces us to adapt, to research new products. The bit of change that gets pushed on us, whether we like it or not, I think can be beneficial.
Yeah.
And a lot of times some of our one-off projects end up becoming best practices once we've had a bit of time to work with them and grow on them.
That's interesting. How do you feel like what do you put together to make sure those conversations happen? How are you leveraging that innovation? Is it through relationships, committees? How do you get people to come to the table?
I think it's very helpful, the fact that I actually report directly to the city manager.
Okay.
So I'm kind of outside of the hierarchy of a lot of the other business units, which can be an advantage.
Okay.
My task is to look out for the city as a whole, and my boss supports me in that, to the point where if there are conflicts with other departments, I'm not subject to any individual one of them.
He
I can
helps
go
you
straight
resolve
to the
those.
top.
That's great.
And I'll be honest, we also get a lot of real good help from, of all places, our purchasing department.
Interesting.
They're a fantastic gatekeeper when it comes to buying technology, and they really do help ensure that every project the city is doing somehow passes through the IT department for oversight and review
that's great.
before spending money on it.
That's great. My next question, as your career's matured, what opportunities do you believe led you to where you are? So which doors did you walk through or open and be willing to do that got you here, and how would you encourage others to embrace those opportunities?
I think the key to this one is how to embrace the opportunities. So for me personally, the opportunities that I had early on in my career, I think, are fairly standard.
Okay.
And the types of things that are accessible to a lot of people trying to get into the industry.
Okay.
My first ever job was doing Tier 1 help desk support. So answering phones and fixing the little issues that come in. And I was there for about 18 months and moved on to a field service technician role. So going out to client sites and resolving
very
issues.
normal.
This is a really common way to get into the industry. There's nothing, I wouldn't say I hit the lottery with any of these opportunities.
Right.
But the bit that's important is embracing those opportunities. For me, the goal was every day to be learning something new and always be growing your skill set, always be having something that's different about your day-to-day job.
Okay.
And when you get to the point where you're stagnating and every day is the same and it's repetitive and you're kind of stuck in a rut, that's when it's time to move on to something else and to take that growth step to get out of what you're doing now.
Okay.
I think that's really the key to it.
That's a great answer. As a technology leader, how do you balance your need for specific industry acumen, so understanding the local government, business acumen, so just generally how do you run a business, how do you make money, And then technology acumen. That's a lot of things to try to understand and handle in a role at the same time. How do you balance making sure you know what you need to know to get your job done?
Yeah, it is a lot to understand.
It is.
The technology world, it's so broad. There's so many specialties and disciplines.
Yeah.
You can't be expert in everything. I mean, nobody can.
Yeah.
So for me, I like to steal other people's good ideas, reuse them maybe, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, recycle.
Recycle, there you go. You get that through talking to people and building connections with your colleagues in the industry. Here in Dayton, we've got the Technology First group. That's a really good general industry networking organization. For local municipalities specifically, we've got the Southwest Ohio Municipal Technology Group, which allows everybody who's in my position in the region to come together and talk about the same issues that we're all having. There's a lot of good information sharing that goes on there, and so that's how you kind of benchmark where you're at compared to your peers, as
That's
well
helpful.
as knowing where you stand,
Yeah.
knowing who's doing things that have worked really well, knowing what projects people have attempted that maybe didn't work so well, and being able to take all these experiences from other people and apply them back for the city of Kettering.
That's great. So the next question, we wanted to talk about the specific area of technology where you believe others should focus as a growing technology and wanting to be leaders in the future. Where do we focus now, and how are you going to do that to make sure you keep your pace?
Information security.
Okay.
It's not trendy, it's not new, it's pretty broad and mainstream,
Yep.
but the complexity of technology is just getting worse and worse, and it's more and more difficult every day. We see pretty regularly in the news at this point data breaches. Ransomware tends to be a big thing for local governments at the moment,
That's right.
and it's only going to get worse. So for me, as a municipal technology leader, today, if we have an issue with our information security, we're probably looking at a financial loss, maybe an employee productivity issue. But I'm looking down the future where we have autonomous vehicles, where we have intelligent traffic signal systems and mass pavement sensor deployments out through our city. And if we don't do security right for those types of technologies, ransomware is not going to be talking about hijacking our files, it's going to be hijacking our transportation systems.
Wow, that's a great point.
And that's the kind of thing that really scares me. The stakes go up enormously when you're talking about people's lives and people's vehicles rather than just your files.
Well,
So these are the kind of things that I see as being a future trend, and what we're doing about it at the City of Kettering is trying to change the culture, how we think about security.
okay.
Everybody wants to have the simple solution. Throw some money at it, buy a product, make the problem go away. And I've got 25 years of history that says that the spammers are always going to be better than the spam filtering software.
Yep.
I mean, here we are in 2019, and that's still the number one threat vector we have, same as it was in 1995. So
You're right.
the technology solutions are not adequate. We have to have the human solution to fix some of these security issues. And the way we're trying to get to that, we're not there yet, I'll be honest. We're just at the infancy. But I want to get to the point where everybody in our organization thinks about data security right from the get-go. The people that are dealing with the citizens, the engineers that are planning the projects, the city manager. I want our vendors to be thinking about this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not an easy solution, but I think it's necessary.
Create a culture of security. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Last question. What challenges do technology leaders face that are unique from other leaders? So your finance director, your accounting director, your HR director. What do you deal with as a technology leader that you feel is unique or different from what they have to deal with?
So in the technology world, I think probably the biggest difference is the constant upheaval of our industry. Every couple of years, something else comes along that just completely changes how we do our business.
Yeah.
And when it comes to really basic managerial or director tasks like budget forecasting and strategic planning, in the IT world, we can do a 5 or 10 year plan,
Yeah.
but how often does something like the iPhone or virtualization or AWS come out that just completely changes all the rules on you and you got
Yes.
to start over?
Yes.
I think that's the challenge that
Okay, the
we deal
disruption,
with.
constant disruption.
It's all the time.
That's
Yep.
great. Thank you so much, Drew. It's been really great talking to you today.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. So thank you. And for more information, please visit ComSpark.tech.